What's up, everyone? Mr. Octogonal here from Octogonal Gaming, and we're back with the Octogonal podcast series here. This is episode 17. This is the second episode with a new ESPN-like template. So without further ado, we're going to be talking about the college football playoff. Of course, something very big. The selection Sunday was yesterday. I was on the edge of my seat, wink wink. There was so much unneeded suspense. I thought it was pretty clear Bama was going to make it. So let me just go back to Saturday when I made predictions on the last Octagonal podcast episode. I picked every conference championship game right, or at least every major game, and I picked the Final Four perfectly before the selection Sunday. I got it all in order. Clemson, Oklahoma, Georgia, Bama. Predicted all the games right because I am the GOAT. So let's see if my predictions can translate even more. So Clemson, Alabama. We have a rematch of the past two championships. And Alabama and Ohio State, there was a lot of debate. Ohio State did beat Penn State, who was like number 2 at the time. They beat Oklahoma State, who was really good and is really good since Oklahoma's in the... Wait, no, Oklahoma beat Ohio State. Who won that game? No, Oklahoma won. Okay, Ohio State beat some other good team. They beat Michigan. Michigan's aight. And I thought Alabama was a better team, even though Ohio State did win the Big 12 or Big 10, and Alabama didn't even play in a conference championship. They didn't even win their division, with Auburn winning it. But I think Alabama was better. So Alabama, Clemson rematch. I am rooting for Clemson because I'm a secondary Clemson fan. I'm mainly an Oregon fan, and I'm very excited for our bowl game against Boise State. I think we can win, but I think Boise State is an extremely solid team. Clemson, Alabama. These are probably the two best teams. And Alabama is so dominant, but I kind of have to say Clemson. I just have to. I don't know. This one's pretty hard. Oklahoma, Georgia, I think is easier for me. I'm going to say Clemson. Very well could be Alabama. Oklahoma, Georgia is easier for me because Oklahoma sort of doesn't really have a defense. I mean, they play in the Big 12 where no defense is played. They have Baker Mayfield, who's great. But Baker Mayfield may be a little tougher to get exposed to actually good defenses. And I think Georgia will beat Oklahoma. I think Oklahoma is the weakest team of these four in the college football playoff because of their defense. I do think Georgia's going to win. And I think the winner of the Clemson-Alabama game will win the national championship. I think Georgia's an extremely solid team with freshman quarterback Jake Fromm. So, essentially, I'm saying Clemson's going to win the championship. I think it'll be Clemson or Alabama, but I think these playoffs should be very exciting. Tell me if you thought Ohio State got snubbed over Alabama. Personally, I don't, but what do you guys think? Next on the agenda, we're going to be talking about probably the most underrated player in the 2017 NBA draft class, and that is the Utah Jazz's Donovan Mitchell. Now, you guys probably know I'm a Pistons fan. If I was a Pistons GM at 12, I would have taken Mitchell. Like, during that draft night, of course, I wanted Monk's on the Hornets. If I was a GM, I would have taken Mitchell. I thought OG Anunoby was the best player on the board. But with his injury concerns, I would have taken Mitchell. I thought Mitchell was the second best. He's very similar to OG Anunoby, in which they're both phenomenal defenders. I think Mitchell's probably less raw than Anunoby at scoring. I feel like Anunoby's more raw. And OG Anunoby's played solidly so far for the Toronto Raptors, but Donovan Mitchell's been great so far for the Utah Jazz, putting up over 16 points a game, 3 rebounds, 3 assists. And on Friday, against the New Orleans Pelicans, really broke out of his shell, scoring 41 points. And I'm assuming what was a Utah Jazz win. Donovan Mitchell, I can't really say he's going to take the role that Gordon Hayward was, as Gordon Hayward was an all-star. Donovan Mitchell isn't an all-star. Donovan Mitchell will not win Rookie of the Year because of Ben Simmons. But Donovan Mitchell's definitely been all-rookie first team. So far, all-rookie first team has been Ben Mitchell, am I kidding myself? Ben Simmons, Jason Tatum, Donovan Mitchell, Lauri Markkanen, and Kyle Kuzma. They've probably been the best rookies. Probably in that order, too. You could debate Tatum and Donovan Mitchell, and even Lauri Markkanen as well. But I think Donovan Mitchell's been really good. He's quite athletic. He's more athletic than Luke Kennard. He's not quite as good of a shooter as Luke Kennard. Luke Kennard's definitely a very solid pure shooter, which Donovan Mitchell can get. I mean, he scored 41 points against the Pelicans. 17 of those were in the fourth quarter. Excellent perimeter defender, better than Luke Kennard. I can see him not quite as Devin Booker. I mean, we've seen great shooting guards be taken at pick 13, like Donovan Mitchell, like Devin Booker, and Kobe Bryant. But I sort of see him as like a little bit better version of Robert Covington, because he reminds me a lot of Robert Covington. He's probably just smaller than Robert Covington. Robert Covington's he's a good shooter, which probably Mitchell can develop. And Robert Covington is a phenomenal perimeter defender, and he's pretty athletic. I think the perimeter defense is very similar since they're both really, really good at it. LeVar Ball is a crazy, crazy dude, okay? Lonzo clearly cannot beat Stephen Curry, especially in a shooting contest. I cracked myself up. But now, of course, LIANGELO Ball, the shoplifting issue of two of his teammates a couple weeks ago in China. LIANGELO Ball's not played yet for UCLA, and he never will play for UCLA. As LeVar Ball's taken another person out of school. Of course, he took LaMelo Ball out of high school, so LaMelo Ball's not in high school, and LIANGELO's not in UCLA. I don't know if he's just taken him out of UCLA's basketball team, or the UCLA college as a whole. But LeVar, he's a GOAT, but he's also an idiot. He is a flat-out idiot. This will not help LIANGELO get drafted at all. I think the stealing thing was probably the last straw with his any chances of getting drafted into the NBA, and this is just yuck. Like, I don't get what LeVar is trying to do, because even though LIANGELO is going to be suspended for a while, he will come back this year. He would have come back this year, and he's a talented player. He's a pretty good defender. He's a much better of a shooter than Lonzo Ball. He's probably the best pure scorer of the bunch, but now he's pretty much screwed. He's probably just going to train with LeVar and LaMelo for the draft, which LeVar thinks LIANGELO is going to be a top pick to the Lakers. Oh, wait, no, LeVar thinks the Lakers are going to win the finals. I forgot about that. But no, LIANGELO Ball is clearly not NBA talent. I think LeVar Ball is extremely dumb for doing this. This is pretty much the end of LIANGELO Ball's basketball career. So, New York Giants fans today were definitely rejoicing. The Giants are the second worst team in the league, because the Niners have a tiebreaker over them, or in tanking case, the Giants have a tiebreaker over them because they're worse, because the Niners beat them head-to-head, and the Niners did just win on Sunday against the Bears, and 3 of those teams are eliminated from the playoffs, who we just discussed, with the only other one being the Cleveland Browns. But Ben McAdoo and Jerry Reese are finally fired. Ben McAdoo, of course, is their coach, and Jerry Reese, of course, is their GM. So, last year, the future was bright for the Giants. They'd made the playoffs in Ben McAdoo's first year, replacing Tom Coughlin, who now has a front office role in Jacksonville. Look at Jacksonville. They're thriving this year. And the Giants have been a mess this year. Week 5 against the Chargers, I think, was the lowest point. The Chargers were 0-4, remember. Now they're probably going to win their division now. But the Giants lost Brandon Marshall, Odell Beckham. They were both out for the year of injury, but Brandon Marshall, he's old anyway. Sterling Sharp got hurt. Eli Manning has struggled. This whole team has been a mess. There's been no run game. The offensive line, don't even get me started with the offensive line. That offensive line is absolutely horrendous. But they finally fired them. Ben McAdoo has been awful this year. He's been suspending cornerbacks Janoris Jenkins and Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie for no reasons. Both of them were great last year for the Giants. I don't know what Ben McAdoo was doing. Jerry Reese has been a terrible GM the past few years. He's drafted like no one. 2013 draft. Who did they get in 2013? Justin Pugh. He's a solid player. He's a starter on their offensive line. He's actually a quality starter. Other than that, I can't think of anyone. 2014. First round, they got Odell Beckham. Great player. Who else did they get after that? I don't remember. 2015. Eric Flowers. What a mess. He is horrendous. As a YouTuber, Bengal, who I watch, he's a Giants fan, he calls Eric Flowers the nicest left tackle in the league and a revolving door, because, like lets the defensive end sack the quarterback like he's a door. Defensive ends just walk by him, gets to the quarterback, or running back, I guess, if it's a run play. Boom, there you go. Second round, Landon Collins. He's been great, or he was great last year. He sucked as a rookie, but Landon Collins has been great last year, and this year hasn't really been as good like everyone else on this damn team. 2016, in the first round, they took Eli Apple, the cornerback. He's been horrendous. In the second round, completely forget. My mind is just blanking. No, Darian Thompson, or not Darian. Yeah, Darian Thompson was 2015. I forget who they took in the second round in 20. Oh, Sterling Shepard. Yeah, Sterling Shepard's developed into a quality player. But other than like Odell Beckham, Sterling Shepard, Justin Pugh, yeah, it's been bad. He's built an awful team. They have no replacement quarterback for Eli Manning, unless Davis Webb is the guy. Woohoo! But the Giants should have did this earlier, but they're making the right moves by firing the two of them. So now we're going to be talking about fringe playoff teams in the NFL. So let's start with the AFC, which we won't be talking about much because the AFC is trash. The Steelers and Patriots are going to be 1 and 2. Okay, but after that, the only other team that I think is good is the Jaguars. They've looked very good this year, even though Blake Bortles is not great. Other than that, like, no one else deserves to make the playoffs. The AFC West has been a mess. The Chiefs have lost 6 of their last 7. The Broncos just suck. The Raiders are on a 2-game winning streak, but that's against the Broncos and Giants. Whoop-de-doo. The Chargers look like the best team in that division. So, at this point, my playoff predictions for the AFC are Patriots, Steelers, Jaguars, Chargers, wildcard, maybe Titans and Chiefs, Titans and Ravens. The Titans have looked inconsistent. The Ravens have no offense. Buffalo's no clue what they're doing at quarterback. And the Chiefs have been terrible lately. But the big thing I want to talk about is the NFC. The NFC has been very competitive. I think the division winners are locked, pretty much. Or at least most of them. The Vikings just have to win and they win their division. Same with the Eagles. And the Saints, the Panthers are only 1 game back of the Saints, and the Falcons are only 2 games back, but the Saints do have a tiebreaker over the Panthers since they beat the Panthers twice, and I think the Saints are very, very good, so I think the Saints have that set. Rams and Seahawks, I think the NFC West is really the only division of the NFC up for grabs at this point. The Seahawks do have the head-to-head advantage so far, 1-0, but the Rams can beat them and extend their NFC West lead, but I really want to talk about the wild card, so we're not going to talk about the Eagles, Saints, Vikings, and Rams. We're going to talk about the wild card team. Pretty much everyone from the Packers up. So, the Seahawks, they looked very good against the Eagles. They proved that they can beat anyone, that they are a really good team, even without Richard Sherman and Cam Chancellor to injury. Carolina, I think they've been inconsistent. They're sort of like the Titans, just they're 8-4. They've looked pretty solid lately. They did lose to the Saints, and they didn't look very good against the Saints at all. The Atlanta Falcons, they are a very solid team. I think Dan Quinn is a great coach, but their offense needs to do better in the playoffs. I'm not saying they were bad last year in the playoffs. I'm saying this week against the Vikings, their offense sucked. And the Vikings have a great defense. I will agree on that. But if the Falcons are going to need to do better on that on offense in the playoffs if they do want to contend. My Lions, we have the easiest schedule. Our only hard game is against the Packers when Aaron Rodgers will be back. I'm not confident in the Lions anymore. I kind of want to tank. But the Packers, who I really want to talk about, Aaron Rodgers is only supposed to miss 1 more week. So when he's going to be back, he is really good. So I do expect the Packers to make the playoffs. My final predictions will be Eagles, Saints, Vikings, Rams, Seahawks, Packers. I think the Packers will be really good with Aaron Rodgers back. He's only going to miss 1 more game. That's pretty much it. Tell me what you think of these topics in the comments below. I'm out. Peace.